Okay, again, we're on the subject of healing and about God, how He heals and so forth. But today we're talking about judgment or healing. Now, sometimes people don't understand things. Sometimes, they get angry about certain things. But you have to know that God is so merciful. He'll work with us in so many ways at whatever level He can get to us at and try to help us. Now here in 2 Kings 20, we have another example of this. Beginning with the very first verse, it said, "In those days was Hezekiah sick unto death." Now, of course, Hezekiah was one of the good kings of Israel, and he was sick unto death. And the prophet Isaiah, the son of Amos, came to him and said unto him, "Thus saith the Lord." So the prophet is speaking in behalf of the Lord, said, "Set thine house in order, for thou shalt die and not live." Now in this case, the prophet's given him a death sentence. But I want you to notice how King Hezekiah handles the situation. In verse 2 it said, he turned his face to the wall. He turned his face to the wall. He didn't look at the prophet. He turned his face to the wall and prayed unto the Lord, saying. So in other words, he went directly to the Lord. And verse 3 said, "I beseech thee, O Lord, remember now how I have walked before thee in truth and with a perfect heart." So he's reminding God of how he has walked before him. Apparently, what got him in this situation is he was doing some things that weren't acceptable to the Lord. See, and again, opened himself up to the enemy, and it was not good because he was going to die. But he said, "Lord, I've walked before you in truth and with a perfect heart, have done that which is good in thy sight." And Hezekiah wept sore. And in other words, he repented, and knowing that the repentance was there, hey, Hezekiah was handling this with the Lord. Now, verse 4 it said, "And it came to pass, before Isaiah was gone out into the middle court, the word of the Lord came unto him, saying," before he went out into the middle court, the word of the Lord came, right? Verse 5, "Turn again and tell Hezekiah." So here God is talking to his prophet. He said, "Turn again and tell Hezekiah, the captain of my people, thus saith the Lord, the God of David thy father, I have heard thy prayer. I have seen thy tears." In other words, he saw his repentance. See that? "I have seen thy tears. Behold, I will heal thee. On the third day thou shalt go up unto the house of the Lord." So here the prophet comes back and tells him, that God's reversed this. Now, was it God's will that Hezekiah should die? No. He wanted Hezekiah to live on, but Hezekiah had to change. He couldn't stay like he was, or he was going to die. But when he changed and repented, then that changed everything for him. Now notice verse 6. God goes on, he said, "I will add unto thy days 15 years. 15 years. See? And he said, "And I will deliver thee and this city out of the hand of the king of Assyria, and I will defend this city for my own sake and for my servant David's sake." Then it said in verse 7, "And Isaiah said." Now here we have revelation, because Isaiah said, "Take a lump of figs," and they took it and laid it on the boil, and he recovered. Now, here's the important thing. Notice that Hezekiah got a sentence of death from Isaiah, from the word of the Lord. But what happened? Hezekiah repented. And he's asking God for forgiveness. He's changing, right? Well, soon as he did this, God said, "I heard your prayer. I see your tears. Behold, I will heal you." So I'm asking you, Does God bring judgment or does He bring healing? Well, we can see that God is a merciful God. Amen? And He brings healing even though sometimes we get in trouble. But we can't continue to live in sin and think that God is going to overlook that. See? Because what happens is it opens up the door for the enemy. It's not God putting the sickness on us. It's the devil. He's the thief. He's the killer. He's the destroyer. Jesus said, I came that you might have life and have it more abundantly. Amen.